Hello there my friends, my name is Reg, and if you clicked on this video guys, it can mean only one thing. It means that you are searching for the answer to a question that I too have asked many times, and I bet that question is, how the hell do I connect my two blaze spawners? Now, this tutorial is not for two blaze spawners that are perfectly aligned and at the same height. No. We are going to tackle something a lot more tricky, a lot more difficult, and that is two blaze spawners at awkward angles and hell, even different heights. Now, in order to tutorialize this guys, I have to break it down into different stages. The first stage will be me attempting to explain two separate methodologies in order to move blaze. Now, of course, I am referring to piston conveyor belts. The first methodology was originally created by Seth Bling. It's a rather old design, although I feel that it still has purpose. It's still important, I feel. It's, still trustworthy, reliable. Although with the next update I feel that it's probably going to break, so the second methodology is perhaps my favorite for many different reasons that I will explain throughout this tutorial. So I shall be explaining step by step fully how to build it. Firstly, I shall be building it in isolation, so basically on its own, just so you can see how it works, While building it, I shall be explaining both the advantages and the disadvantages of using both methodologies, so you at home can choose which one you want to use in your own world. Once I build the conveyor belt in isolation, I should then go on to explain how to attach as another conveyor belt so they both meet in the middle to create a dual conveyor belt. But that's not all I shall explain, guys. I'm also going to explain how to assimilate my conveyor belt with Ethos Labs cone shape. Now, this is where building blaze farms can get a bit tricky. It's always a bumpy ride, guys, when we're playing with blazes. But if we can get through it, we're left with something that looks like this. This is the finished prototype, guys. Now, you may be thinking, but Reg, how the hell can we connect blaze spawners at any height or any position? Now, the conveyor belt, it can be shortened, it can be lengthened, it can be connected to the central magma tube at any height. Thus, as long as we can assimilate the conveyor belt with the cone shape, then we can effectively connect the two spawners at any position. So, firstly guys, what I want to do is, because the aim of this tutorial is to explain to you how to connect blaze spawners at any height or any position, I want to firstly go through how we should approach building blaze farms, the sort of mentality, the way of thinking. So let's get this tutorial started. Okay guys, so let's kick things off with the basics. Now, whenever I think about dual blaze farms, I normally think about right angles. Take it from me, this sort of rule of thumb when attempting to connect two blaze spawners, when using the cone shape, that is that we can always use right angles to connect them. Now, what I did was, just for research purposes, I created around 40 worlds, I think, and I went into the Nether and I explored and recorded different situations where I found two blaze spawners which were in range of one another. And what I did was, I researched which was the most common, which was the second most common, and which is perceived to be the hardest to connect and the best, the sort of most fortunate situation. So in front of us here, guys, I have created four sort of models, I guess. The sponge block represents the spawner itself. The blue wall, the blue lines, indicates the where we can place the conveyor belts, and the orange wall indicates the sort of central magma tubes. So which one do you guys think is the most common? Which one do you think is the most common? With my research, guys, I found that it was this one. This one here, yes. The one where the spawners are quite far apart. They're not aligned at all. But they are normally at the same height, which is rather fortunate. You have to be very unlucky if they're not at the same height. And here, it's pretty simple. Once again, if we just follow the sort of rule of right angles here, we just come out really far, we come out really far until they meet, and that's where we build the magma tube there. So this is the most common. This is coincidentally the easiest sort of situation to build with my method. So this is the situation that we will be using as a example today in this tutorial. The second most common is this one, where the blaze spawners, they're not aligned. They are quite close, however. They're only about 3 or 4 blocks apart. This one is a little more awkward, but it's basically the exact same. Like, all you do is you just sort of extend one conveyor belt and you shorten the other. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. I'm not even going to talk about this situation because this is so red. This is like the perfect sitch, right? This is like the perfect sitch. This is the one that we all want, guys, right? But this tutorial is for those that weren't the sort of lucky ones, so let's just skip that. I'm sure there's lots of tutorials on that one. And finally, there's this sort of height difference here, but with my conveyor belt, with my method of connecting them, there's nothing underneath the conveyor belts, so they can be connected to the central magma tube at any height. It's as simple as that, guys. So shall we get on and let's delve into the conveyor belts themselves. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce you to the first methodology that I would like to explain. I don't want to spend too much time on this one, guys, because I want to go into more detail with the other one. But this boss over here is known as the cake conveyor belt. It's known as the cake conveyor belt because it was originally created by a Minecraft player known as Seth Bling, and he originally used cakes instead of trapdoors. The original purpose of it was to move players, although a YouTube channel known as Traslanders implemented it into his dual blaze farm, and I just instantly fell in love with it. I decided to use it in my own world, and thus I created my first video on it. So I thought it was worth a mention. It's still usable in blaze farms. It's by no means broken, not yet anyway. So let's just see how this bad boy works. Hooked up to a simple clock here. It's a sort of constant clock. Yeah, so this piston pushes the blocks up. This piston then pushes them along. We have a sticky piston here which extends and retracts, bringing the block back down, of which this piston then pushes them this way, and it completes a sort of circuit of epicness, I guess. Yes, so let's discuss quick. Let me turn it off. Shall we delve straight into the pros and cons of it then, guys? Let's start off with the advantages. I'll probably skip between in and out of the advantages and disadvantages. It is guaranteed to move blaze. Now, it is guaranteed to move blaze because a fence gate is slightly higher than a normal block, and if you can get blaze within a too high room, if a fence is pushed into the back of them, they are immediately thrusted that way. Hence why it's being pushed this way. If they cannot move, they are, it is sort of guaranteed that they will get pushed towards the magma tube. So let's just see. Oops. Whack it on easy, that would help. Let's see how this baby works. It would help if I turned it on as well. Yeah, so it's guaranteed to move them. Of course, it is only guaranteed. There we go. It's only guaranteed if they are in a sort of too high sort of room here. It's not too high here, so there's a sort of waiting period where they sort of wait around. If one is sort of idle down there and another one falls down, they are immediately pushed in, which is pretty cool. Also, they normally just wander in there on their own. So let's see how this works. There we go. Look, they sort of exploded in. And they all get pushed in, so it's a sort of, guaranteed push. As soon as they get under the glass, then it's literally GG for them. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Old school, man, stoked. Okay, let's carry on. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Next up, it can be stacked. Yeah, that's probably one of the most important things with a sort of adaptable method is that it should be able to be be stacked. Sorry, I'm sorry if that's too loud, guys. However, in order to stack it, because of the limitation of the piston situation happening down here, the other conveyor belt, it has to be not directly in line with the magma tube but 1 over. It still requires only 1 magma tube. Oops. Oh, that's alright. That's alright. Piston friendly, yep, it only uses, you got 4 pistons on this conveyor belt, 4 pistons on the other, and 1 for the clock, so that makes 9. That's a lot less than that bad boy over there. That one uses a hell of a lot more. So it's very piston friendly. It's easy to assimilate with the cone/linear blaze farms. Yep, you just sort of plonk it on there. I'll go into a lot more detail with the other one. It's basically the same. Although if you watch my first blaze farm tutorial video, then I go into quite a lot of detail on it up there. So, but yeah, it's pretty simple to adapt to any sort of blaze farm, which is cool. And it's rather compact. I've left it sort of open here. This is a sort of bare bones, so you can sort of see the wiring, etc. But if you were to sort of fill it all in to protect it from the gas shots, then it will look something like this, pretty compact. That's probably the main positive, I think, with this design, just its sort of sleekness. That's the clock, by the way. That's why it sticks out so much. I have of course updated this from my first video. It's a lot more slimline now. It uses less blocks, which is pretty cool. Disadvantages: it's slow. It's slow in comparison to that design, definitely, but then again, it's guaranteed. Obviously, I'm assuming that one would go AFK and then sort of maybe throw a potion. So the speed of it is probably irrelevant, because the spawners will spawn them at the same speed anyway. So it can cause suffocation damage. Yes, it can indeed. It only causes suffocation damage if you decide to stack them. If you just got 2, then it won't cause it at all. But yeah, because in order to stack them, you need a piston here connected to the clock, which will push them from the conveyor belt into the central magma tube. They can't just sort of get pushed into the same one. And with that piston, it causes them damage sometimes, and it normally kills them. So I guess it's not a bad thing, because it sort of immediately eliminates them from the system, so you don't have blaze of different sort of health points. But at the end of the day, it does lower rates and lowers numbers, so that's something to consider. Each update breaks the timings. Yeah, man, this thing is very timing sensitive in terms of the repeaters. Every update that Mojang has ever done, it's broken this machine. That's why it's been so long since I made a tutorial on it. But I've updated it. Like I said, I've made it more efficient for 1.4.5. So, but yeah, so every update you probably have to go back and play around with it. It's pretty, it's pretty tedious. Difficult to stack. I've already mentioned that it has to be 1 just to the right of it there, but no biggie. More lag, of course, it's referring to the clock here. The clock is a sort of constant clock, so if we can imagine, guys, that we've got maybe 200 blaze in the little magma tube there, and this thing's going off, then of course it's definitely going to cause lag. This was the main concern that my viewers sort of expressed in the comments of my first video. They were all saying that it's pretty good, although it'll probably cause lag, and it does cause lag. So yeah, that's probably the major downfall with this design. But there's nothing that you can do about it, because you need the blocks to move constantly. It's already slow as it is. So. And finally, the limited size of it's only 14 blocks. If you didn't know before, a piston, it can only push 14 blocks in front of it. If there's 15, the piston doesn't move when it's powered. So yeah, this is the cake conveyor belt method. I wanted to mention it. You can still use it, guys. If you want me to make a separate tutorial on it, I can just mention it in the comments, and I shall. Although I want to spend the majority of my time playing around with the more efficient method, my favorite method. So let me introduce you to that beast. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let us continue with the second method of moving blades, and I call it the timed conveyor belt, the TCV method. I tried searching everywhere for a video tutorial on this conveyor belt, but I simply couldn't find one. So if this method rings a bell, guys, and you know a tutorial on YouTube, could you please link me in the comments? That would be much appreciated. I originally discovered this method by watching JL2579's triple blaze spawner video. I saw this and I thought, wow, that is fast. So yeah, so I had to copy the design from the video, which is always freaking hard, man. And although it's altered, it's more slimline, it's more compact, but it's still pretty hench. Obviously in comparison to the cake conveyor belt over there. So let's turn this thing on, let's get you acquainted with it, with Mr. TCV. The clock is a lot bigger, but I'll go into detail on that. It's bigger for a reason. This method, it doesn't require a constant clock, it just requires a single pulse. So the single pulse sends a pulse and it sends off a sort of chain, which pushes the blaze. Sometimes it pushes them in just one, and man, they go quick. Sometimes it goes straight through them and they just sort of hover there for about maybe 10 to 20 seconds. Let's see if it can do it for us on camera. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Now, if you compare that speed to the cake conveyor belt, that's the main reason why I chose this. But there are a myriad of other advantages to it, which we shall go into detail now. Let's just stock it up. There we go, there's another one. Sometimes they come out of the tube, but that's okay because the next round of pistons will push them in. As you can see, sometimes it just goes straight through them, but that's okay because you know, if you are AFK, I can guarantee that they will all get, you know, they will all eventually get pushed into the tube. So this is basically the fundamentals to the TCV method. You know, there's just a sort of chain reaction of pistons which pushes them in. Okay, let's shut those blades off because their sound is rather annoying, and let's quickly turn off the conveyor belt. Alright, pros and cons, advantages, disadvantages. You can see it's a bit outweighed with the disadvantages there, but advantages is fast, as I've just shown you. Very, very fast. It's easily assimilated with the cone and the linear blaze farms. It's once again, it's a 2x. Well, actually, it's a 2.5 by 1 space, but it's assimilated using the same method that you would use with that one, which I explained in my other video. Although I will be going into a lot more detail in this video, I will explain fully how to assimilate it in the next stage of the tutorial. So it's easy, less lag. Like I said, my viewers, their main concern, they express concern with the lag. This one doesn't require a constant clock, it just requires one pulse. And the pulse, you can dictate how often you want the pulse. So for example, if we set all these repeaters to 1 here, to 1, and then we turn this bad boy on, so it'll pulse, and it'll pulse. You can make it, of course, even quicker, but if you decrease the delay on the pulses, there is a drawback to it. And what is that drawback, guys? What is the drawback? Is the drawback that we all hate, and that is more lag. So I took into account what you guys were looking for when building dual blaze farms, and I came up with this, so I hope you like it. So you can either have more pushes but more lag, or less pushes and less lag. Of course, you only need one push, you know, so it's effectively better in every way in comparison to that method. Alright, what's next? Length not limited. Yes, like I said, piston can only push 14 blocks. This one, the pistons, they're not pushing blocks, they're actually pushing the mob themselves, so there's effectively no limit. As the repeaters, it's just a simple repeated pattern here. And it's easy to stack, and it is easy to stack because... Turn this off. I don't know why that was on. Because both of them can go straight into one central magma tube here. It just takes one side to sort of assimilate it, and that's it. That is it. I'll go into more detail about that later. But so yeah, it's like mega easy, guys. I love this method. I love it. That method's rather nostalgic because it was my first video. That was the first time I ever really played with Redstone 2. But this method is like the beast, It's like once I get in there, it's literally GG, So, but it does have its disadvantages. It's very piston heavy, as you can probably tell. It's got a hell of a load of pistons in this thing. There's 2 pistons per one you can see here. So what? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8. So there's about what? 32 pistons in this one conveyor belt alone. Obviously dictated by its length, but yeah, that's a hell of a load of pistons, and half of those pistons are sticky, the other half are regular. So you have to take into account the resources used, and of course it's less compact. I've exposed it here. This is the sort of bare bones, so you can see how it works. This is it when it's fully done up, when it's fully with its outer shell. And yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's 7 wide, dude. 7 wide, as opposed to like 4 or 5 over there. But I think it looks awesome. I don't know. I just love it. I think it looks sort of heavy, quite maybe industrial. Love it. Sweet. Okay, so next up, guys, I'm going to explain, before we begin building this, I've been speaking for a long time now. You're probably sick of me just talking, but I thought it was necessary. So let's get into actually building it step by step, starting with the clock, and then we're going to go into the conveyor belt. But before that, I want to explain how to assimilate the conveyor in with Etho's cone shape here. So let's get on with the next stage of the tutorial. Okay guys, this is it. This is the cone design. The reason why I've chosen to sort of use this design as opposed to the linear is no real reason in terms of efficiency. It's just because I like the way that it looks. That's the only real reason. So this sponge block here is the spawner. It represents the spawner. Now I don't want to take any views away from anyone else's video, so I have a request. If you want to follow me step by step, I'm not going to show you how to build this because there is already a video on it. I'll link it in the description, and I want you, if you are going to watch that video, I want you to watch that video up to exactly 11 minutes 15. 11 minutes 15, guys. 1115. If you watch it up to there and then pause it, you should be exactly around here. This should be the exact view and the exact stage of that tutorial. From there, the tutorial goes one way. We're going to go another way. The original aim of this design was to drop blades down into a 2x2 area. But we don't want that, guys, do we? We want to drop them down even further. We want to drop them down into, let's say, a 2x1. So we can move them. So let's just get all our stuff together here. So once you've watched that video, guys, I want you to carry on with me. So depending on which way you want the conveyor belt to go. Sorry, let me just skip this here. 5,000 should do it, right? Yeah. And so depending on which way you want the blades to go. So if you want the blades to go that way, you need to put the pistons on the left. If you want them to go that way, you put the pistons on the left. So it's always on the left, okay? You could put them on the right, depending on if you want them to drop down here or here. So let's say that we want the conveyor belt to shoot them that way, and we want them to drop down in this sort of row here. What we do is we just put 2 more sticky pistons here, and we follow this along like so. Then we cover them up and we drop it down again. Yeah, now we're getting building, guys, eh? Then we drop it down again here, guys, and you want to bring it out too. That gives us this sort of 2 area here. Then you plonk this in and we can test it out. Sweet. So now we go even further and we drop them down into this little slot here. So let's test that out from the very beginning here. Sweet. And then so let's say we want them to go this way, so then, you know, we can make it look pretty. We can make it look prettier, you know. Drop them in again, maybe not there, maybe here, like so. And there we go. So now from here, this is where the this is where I'm going to stop with this. But this is where the conveyor belt is going to start, guys. So you just whack the piston there, drop, and then you're going to drop it down too. But what we want is a half slab there, and that's it. That, and then this is where the conveyor belt's going to start. So that's what you're looking for, guys. That is actually spot on perfect, something like that. So let's get building. Okay, guys, so I'm just going to continue now exactly where we left off. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to dig down a few. Let's bring it out. Let's bring it out a bit, and then we're going to half slab it down. I recommend half slabbing it. I don't know. It just seems to increase the sort of chance that the pistons, you know, really sort of push them, you know. Okay, so from there, what you can see is basically a exact replica of up there. So obviously you would build down from the spawner and then out, or at least that's how I would do it anyway. So then you will want to build back like this and down. So you've got something like that. Then you want to come out too, and you want to come out here but take down this one. So you should have something like this, guys, okay? This is what's going to connect the conveyor belt with the clock. Something like that. Okay? Then what we're going to do is this. You're going to alternate from every one like that. I like to do it like this, and then just go back and like delete them, so we don't need that one, that one, that one. Like that. And we're just going to imitate this on the other side. So let's do this. Yeah, I've built this like so many times now. Hopefully I'm not going too fast here, but I'm sure you can pause the video. Like so. Okay, sweet. It looks pretty big already, right? So this is where the blades will come. They'll fall down from here. Sweet. Okay, cool. So next up we want to install the sticky pistons. Now I normally put one here, but it's not actually needed, but just out of habit I'm going to put one there anyway. And what we want to do is just put one so it's on the back of every block that you just placed, guys, okay? Like so. Then what we want to do is place a normal piston in front of all of the sticky pistons. Now if you're not in creative mode, this is going to be really hard, so I'm just going to do this. Just going to do this like so, and then attempt to do this. Oh man. Yeah, a bit tricky this, guys, a bit tricky. Bam. Okay, sweet. Now what we want to do, just for like safety's sake, is fill in all these blocks. Leave, there's 3 here, okay? But leave the last one, that's where the repeat is going to go. Like that. Man, why is the time? It always does this, what the hell? Let's add 15, let's go crazy. Nice. So now let's add this, that one shouldn't be there. Let's add this. Like so. So you should have something like this, guys, okay? Something like this with full blocks. Don't be tricked here. Because of the sort of timings happening back here, this will always be like this. It's not a glitch out. And we can fill this in even. Fill it in. But leave these two here, okay? Okay, so I'm going to quickly check all of the timings on the repeaters, guys, just so I don't get this wrong, and then I shall be right back. Alright, so let's get stuck into the redstone here. This took me so damn long. So what we want is a repeater there, okay? Run the redstone back. This will connect eventually to the clock. Then we want one coming this way and one coming this way. Now all of the timings on these piston, guys, you have to get it spot on or it just won't work. Redstone dust here. Then you want a repeater on 1 tick. On a 1 tick, okay? The rest, however, should be on a 2 tick delay. Like so. Yeah, with piston timings. It's tricky, like so. Then when we get over to the other side, what we want is redstone dust. Normal. And throw it on a 2 tick for the whole way. Like so. So how it basically works is once it sends the sort of pulse down, the repeater will power this block, which will extend this piston. Once this piston comes into contact with this block, if the timing is correct, this repeater will power this block and extend this piston here. However, if this piston doesn't depower until after this one, this piston will stay here, and that's when you know that this won't work. This piston has to depower and then this piston depowers so it can get moved back. A piston cannot be moved if it's being powered. It makes this conveyor belt really hard to time. But this should work. So that's basically it for the redstone. Now you just gotta, you know, pretty much pretty it up. In terms of the lava thing, the sort of lava column, all I like to do is just dig down one. And that's it. It won't spill out there at all. It won't spill out. It also doesn't matter if the piston closest to the magma pillar is on the bottom or the top. So you could extend this by 1 and it wouldn't have any difference. So don't worry about that either. Okay, so next we want to run glass all along here just to keep them in, you know, and obviously it looks cool. Here's the magma tubing here. Yeah, this is my first full like tutorial, guys, so I apologize if I'm going a bit fast or whatever. So they'll fall into the 2 slot there. So what we want to do now, guys, is obviously just go for the looks of it. The looks is always important, right? We want to cover up all those ugly pistons with this beautiful sandstone. Actually, we don't need them, do we? let's just cover it up here. When you place these blocks, make sure that you don't touch any of the repeaters. Once I changed one of them and it messed up the whole thing, so you've been forewarned, my friends. You've been forewarned. So let's cover up all these repeaters. Of course, this will be exposed to ghasts because it'll be in the nether. Something like that. Of course, you can round it off if you want. Do it in your own block. You don't have to build it out of sandstone. I just do it because I love it. I think it looks clean. It looks clean cut. You know, it looks crisp. So if you can imagine that this is coming out of the bottom of the cone shape, I think it looks awesome. Like so. And then you can, oops, build up here, build up here. You can block it all in, you know. I'm just blocking it in where there's repeaters. Like so. Bam and bam. So there we go, we're fully in, we're fully in. Just for the sake of this though, I'm gonna do this. So no blazes escapes, but there would be a 2 wide gap here, right? So this is just 1, but it would be 2. Okay, so we can put the blaze in there. Now, that's the TCV. Now onto the clock itself. So what we want is one here. Let's start with the switch. Let's start with the switch, shall we? So I normally just do it like this. This bit is interchangeable. I use a lever because just like that, okay? Then you run the redstone here. And I thought I had everything on my hotbar. We need a redstone torch. With a repeater, throw it on 4, like so. Now you need to come out 4, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is for the setting that I recommend. Okay, this is for the setting that I recommend. Man, it's getting dark again. What the hell? Now you want to come out 6. Oh, we had just enough room there. And you want to come back 6. How many is that? And that should set you up perfectly for joining up again. Sorry about this, my friends. Sorry about this. 15,000 again should do it, should it? Right. Now we just hook it up. I should power this one. Power this one. Power this one. And power this one. Note that they're all set to 4, but it is interchangeable. You can make this bigger, you can make it smaller. There's lots of different designs for clocks. For this tutorial though, I'm more focused on the conveyor belt and all that. So, and then we need a lever. I think it would look better if there was a button, but so let's just check that it works. Comes round. Sweet. And if you wanted to stop, the piston retracts, cutting off the path that the pulse can go, and it stays like this. So now all we do, guys, I don't know, I just like to throw in three extra repeaters here. I don't know why, I just like to do it like so, and that should be it. So let's see if I've been right. Like so. Okay, so now let's get our lava bucket, throw that in there. We will be requiring some blaze. You'll note that because of the half slab, it will just go straight down. Sweet. Okay, are we on easy? We're on peaceful, of course. Let's see how we do. Yeah, I'd say that's pretty successful. So that's it, guys. If you follow me step by step, you should now have a working TCV conveyor belt. Throw tons in there. I just love watching, like, a lot. come through here, man. Man, that pushed tons in there, and how many that was pushing? So yeah, okay. Now the next stage, guys, is how to assimilate it into a dual conveyor belt. So let me just gather my thoughts and we shall continue with the tutorial. Okay, thoughts gathered, and now what we're going to do, guys, I'm going to show you how to hook up another conveyor belt in with this one. But before I do that, I just want to show you a example that I created here prior. This is if you have a dual conveyor belt at the same height. These are a lot more simpler to build. All it literally takes is they are exactly the same. They've been perfectly replicated. Although there are two things that I want to mention when building this. Of course, they will always be at right angles to one another, which is, it makes it a lot more simpler. This one here, as you can see, the last piston, it goes straight up to the end of the lava column here. Then the second conveyor belt that you make, the second one, the piston cannot reach the end here because there is a repeater blocking its way here, which is why you will notice that when this one pulses, it will extend, and even when that one pulses, this end one here will extend. That cannot be helped. This one here still pushes them in. It sort of still works fine. That sign, you're probably wondering why that sign is there. That sign is there because if the piston doesn't, so this piston here, I can't speak, this piston here, it will update this block area here, and vice versa if this piston is on top, depending on the length of the conveyor belt. It will update this block here. When this block updates, sometimes the lava it comes out this way at a diagonal angle, and then it will fall down, of which it will then constantly be updated by the movement of this piston. This can be averted by putting a sign here. It doesn't block their sort of path when the blades come in. Also, just like I said, the sort of dictated by the length of the conveyor belt, it means that the end piston will either be on the bottom or on the top. Either way, it doesn't matter. I recommend that you put the sign on the opposite block to the piston. So the piston's here, we put the sign there. If the piston was here, we put the sign down here. Other than that, just build the two conveyor belts the exact same until it hits up there. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to make it a bit tricky. That's if they're at the same height. That's the most common. That's probably what most of you will be building. Although I want to show you how it would work if you were to connect spawners at separate heights. So what I'm going to do is, I've already shown you how to build the conveyor belt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build the first part of this conveyor belt off screen, guys, as if the spawner was higher up. So let's say around here. Let's say we built the cone shape and it ends here. So let's try and hook this up. So I'm going to build the first part of the conveyor off screen, and we shall cut back in once I've done that. Okay, guys, so I followed the exact same steps of what I explained previously when building the TCV. It's the exact same, except I've left this area open here. So what you would do is you would build out the exact same way of which I explained. And all you would do is you would do the exact same all the way up to here. I wonder if it's going to kill me. All the way up to here. I guess we could go here. Yeah, let's go there. Then all you do is you just come in. Oops. How would you set this? Can I even set it? Yeah. Like so, and then I think I have to do this one like so. Oops. Nice. Like so. So all you do is you just bring it all the way up to the very tip of the magma tube. Okay, then we just sort of carry on with the repeaters, making sure that the timings are the same as what I mentioned. Like so. fill it in so I make sure that no one can escape. And there we have it, an exact replica of what is on the bottom. Yeah, perfect. Once again guys, it doesn't matter which piston is the closest, like whether it's above or below, it doesn't matter. Also, there's no need for a sign because it goes straight up to the edge. It's only on the equal level conveyor belts where the sign is required. But that's basically it, guys. When blaze go into, oops, Mr. Repeater. That repeater is not needed, is it? When a blaze goes into a magma tube, it always flies up. Which means that once it goes in there, it'll just fly straight up. And there we go. That is how you attach the TCV into conveyor belts at any height and any position. Okay then, my friends, thank you very much for watching this tutorial. I hope it's been of help to you. I know it's been a bit long, but I had lots to say. I've been planning to do this tutorial for half a year now, and I'm glad that I've done it. If you have any further questions, guys, please feel free to ask it in the comments, and I shall attempt to answer them as best I can for you. If you have any serious problems, then just ask me and I shall make another video for you. I love making these videos, you know. It has been a pleasure making it. If it has been of help to you, I would appreciate it if you would like this video, just to show me, you know, that that all of my efforts have been worthwhile. So my friends, I guess that is that. Good luck with your own jewel blaze farms, and as the sun sets, so does the curtain on this tutorial. So thank you for watching, my friends, and I'll see you in the future. Bye bye.